Venezuela's ousted leader Nicolás Maduro has arrived at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. The White House official account posted video here of what appeared to be a perp walk, showing Maduro walking down a hallway. He was brought to Manhattan, then escorted to that jail by motorcade, as you see right there. A massive crowd of people seen gathering outside that facility tonight as Maduro was brought inside. This all comes after President Trump launched a large-scale strike against Venezuela overnight, capturing Maduro to face charges. CBS's Charlie D'Agata tells us this operation was months in the making.
Nicolás Maduro and his wife Celia Flores touched down in New York this evening after an audacious snatch-and-grab operation in Venezuela overnight. In the early hours of Saturday morning, a swarm of U.S. military helicopters, special forces units known as the Night Stalkers, descended on Caracas, and explosions lit up the sky, signaling that Operation Absolute Resolve was underway.
It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolás Maduro to justice.
President Trump and his team watched the mission unfold from his Mar-a-Lago home as soldiers of the Army's elite Delta Force dropped in and breached Maduro's compound just after 2 a.m. local time.
He was trying to get into a safe place. You know, the safe place is all steel.
Greetings, everybody.
And he wasn't able to make it to the door.
Welcome to the
because
show.
Our guys were so fast.
Officials tell CBS News that a CIA source inside the Maduro government had tracked the dictator's movements for months.
Where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate, what he wore, what were his pets.
Within 2.5 hours of U.S. forces touching down, Maduro and his wife were at sea. The president posting this image of a handcuffed and blindfolded Maduro aboard the USS Iwo Jima. One of the U.S. helicopters was hit, and some U.S. soldiers were injured in the raid.
On arrival into the target area, the helicopters came under fire, and they replied with that fire with overwhelming force in self-defense. One of our aircraft was hit.
Horrible, horrible.
At least 5 strategic targets were hit, including military bases and the country's main port.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
The president said today the U.S. will take over Venezuela without explaining how that's going to work, how long it could last, or whether U.S. troops would be needed to do it. He also said the U.S. will take over the country's oil reserves.
We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country.
Trump suggested that Venezuela's vice president, now interim President Delcy Rodriguez, will cooperate, but today she denounced the U.S. operation and insisted Maduro is still the head of state. Pentagon officials say that this mission was months in the making. Commandos actually built a replica of the Maduro compound in order to rehearse, and we're told more than 150 aircraft in all took part.
So after the U.S. airstrikes in Venezuela, by the way, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever you are in the world watching. From the pineapple to the Big Apple, from Maine to Spain, this is the Zero Dark Tony Show. I am Tony D, your host. And hello, like, subscribe, do all the things. Share it out with a friend. We have a lot to get to today. After the U.S. airstrikes in Venezuela and Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago announcement that Nicolás Maduro has been captured, streets from Latin America to Europe and the U.S. are also filling with protesters. Now, people are chanting, marching. They're also celebrating. There are a lot of people celebrating, by the way. Embassies lighting flares. Now, some call this a victory for freedom. Others are calling it imperialism. So today we're going to watch the world react in real time. The crowds, the clashes, the speeches, the spin. Hit the subscribe, turn on your notifications, and drop where you're watching from in the chat. I'd like to know where you're watching from in the chat, because this is truly turning into a global movement. We're going to move on to the next section. This is Bill Barr. Oh, good old Bill Barr coming in hot, checking in and telling us what he thinks and comparing the Maduro arrest to Noriega.
Welcome back. Venezuelan dictator Nicolás Maduro and his wife currently being held at a federal detention center in Brooklyn, New York. They are waiting an appearance in court this week. It could come as soon as tomorrow. Fox News correspondent CB Cotton is outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. Hi, CB.
And by the way, thank you, Anna. You are absolutely right. Anna says, and they put him in the Diddy jail. I don't get what they are planning. Well, we're going to find out.
Hi, Jillian. Well, Nicolás Maduro went from dictator to detainee, and he's now behind bars where some of the most notorious criminals have once been held, like Sean Diddy Combs and Ghislaine Maxwell.
The Justice Department's superseding 4-count indictment charging Nicolás Maduro, his wife Celia Flores, his son, and other senior Venezuelan government officials with narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, and weapons charges. The case builds upon the one brought against Maduro in 2020 and alleges Venezuelan leaders, including Maduro, spent more than 25 years abusing government power and working with drug traffickers and violent narco-terrorists to flood the U.S. with, quote, thousands of tons of cocaine. With Maduro and his wife now on U.S. soil, Attorney General Pam Bondi has said, quote, they will soon face the full wrath of American justice on American soil and American courts. In the 25-page indictment, prosecutors revealing how Maduro used the drug smuggling scheme to line his family's pockets. One example, prosecutors say Maduro sold diplomatic passports to known traffickers to, quote, assist traffickers seeking to move drug proceeds from Mexico to Venezuela under diplomatic cover. The indictment also saying Maduro facilitated the movement of private planes to help bring drug proceeds back from Mexico into Venezuela. Prosecutors say Maduro and his wife protected it all with state-sponsored gangs and by ordering kidnappings, beatings, and murders against those who crossed them.
In 2020, Maduro denied all the charges brought against him by the U.S. government. It's not clear who will serve on his legal defense team with this case. We expect him to be arraigned in federal court tomorrow. Jillian.
Oh, so there we go. Maduro has a court date tomorrow.
CB Cotton in Brooklyn, New York, outside that federal facility where Maduro is being held right now. Thank you. Joining me now is former Attorney General Bill Barr, whose Justice Department indicted Maduro
Billy
back
Barr.
in 2020. Sir, thank you for being with us.
Sure.
Maduro has been indicted now in the Southern District of New York on 4 charges. Do you think he is going to be convicted? And what kind of sentence is he looking at here, if convicted?
Yeah, I have a high degree of confidence he'll ultimately be convicted, and all the legal arguments that have been raised really were raised during the prosecution of Noriega, which was a very parallel situation.
Which you also oversaw.
Right. And I think they will be rejected, and I think he will be convicted, and I think he's looking at sentences similar to, if not bigger than, Noriega's sentence. He's committed far more crimes in my mind than Noriega did. And Noriega got a 40-year sentence, which was reduced to 30, but then he also served time in France and then later in Panama, where he died.
That's right.
And it sounds like
Noriega spent the rest of his entire natural life incarcerated.
Based on my conversation with the Homeland Security Secretary, he could face time behind bars here in the United States as well as possibly abroad as well.
Right. Well, if one of the European leaders is willing to crawl out of their hole and actually indict him, because he was one of the biggest source of illegal drugs going into Europe, and if they indict him, then, as in Noriega's case, we might be willing to give him over once he's convicted here, to serve additional time in prison in a foreign country.
The news of Maduro's capture when it broke yesterday was shocking to a lot of people in Washington, but not necessarily surprising in the sense that the administration had been laying this legal groundwork for some time, not only with the indictment a few years ago, but during this administration over the past year, they upped the bounty on him through the Rewards for Justice program. I think they were offering $50 million for information that would lead to his capture. Yes. They also designated Tren de Aragua as a domestic and foreign terrorist organization. Do these tools factor into the charges he is now facing?
Well, I mean, it shows the unity of purpose and that they had the intention of pursuing him and bringing him to justice. But people get wrapped around the axle about
for me, guys. Let's get this video out there.
Was this law enforcement or was this national defense? And I think what people have to understand is when a group of foreigners, and Panama illustrates this well, when a group of foreigners are engaged in an activity that's directed against the United States, that can both be, at the same time, illegal activity that subjects them to our legal process, but also it can be a national security threat that subjects them to the use of our defense power. And this is that kind of situation. And that's why the president, I think, could use defense powers in interdicting the boats and can turn to his law enforcement powers because it's really our choice of what's best for the American people. And he's decided to bring him to justice and use law enforcement powers. And, you know, I think that's admirable and it shows a great deal of restraint.
Does it matter whether the United States is technically at war or not with Venezuela? The regime, the Trump administration has been saying we are at war with the drug cartels. Democrats on Capitol Hill push back and say there's no authorization for a war here. How does that
well, I think
factor
technically he may have referred to it as war, but what he said, I think, or what the administration's position was, it was an armed conflict. And so we were using our defense powers. And I think there's no question that the United States can use its defense.
It's not a war. Okay. It was not a war. It was an extraction of particular individuals that the CIA had been tracking for months.
Powers against foreign groups or entities that pose a national security threat. But in terms of the arrest of and the prosecution of Noriega, that's a law enforcement exercise, and it's going to be upheld as such. We've been through this before. Now, you know, there's discussion of, well, how does that justify coming in and, quote, you know, playing a role in the future of the country? When you have a situation as you did in Panama and here, where the de facto government, which we don't recognize, but they're the ones engaged in the criminal activity, going after them and dismantling them inherently involves regime change. And the object here is not just to get Maduro. We indicted a whole slew of his lieutenants. It's to clean that place out of this criminal organization. And so there's going to have to be follow-up action, and that's going to require the United States to play a role.
To that point, sir, take a listen to Secretary Rubio. This was back in September. I had the opportunity to sit down with him in Jerusalem. He already started making this argument. Take a listen.
Not only do we not recognize him, 50-something countries around the world do not recognize Nicolás Maduro as the rightful president. He's not the president of Venezuela.
And that is the way the U.S. government sees it. Now, on X, I found something else to bring to you. This is an individual who thinks that they stole Maduro, okay, that Maduro was stolen somehow. So let's take a look at this. I don't know if you've seen this yet, but strap in.
Stole Maduro. They stole him out of his bed, in his pajamas, trying to run one of the few socialist nations on earth, and they stole him like a hawk stealing a rabbit. It's not okay to break international law. It's not okay to enact war without congressional approval. You will be impeached for this, Orange Man. Do you understand? This is not okay. This is not allowed. We will not allow this as the American people. It's not okay. You can't just steal presidents out of thin air. Democratically elected presidents, you can't just take them. They're not yours to take. He was trying to lead a nation. He was trying to deliver the promises of a better world. But no, we can't have that now. Give him back. Just give him back. Give him back tomorrow. Give him back.
Give him back tomorrow.
Or we will impeach you.
Uh-oh.
And your party, your neocons, will never, ever be in power ever again. I guarantee it. This is not what anybody finds acceptable. This is the last straw. Give him back.
It's the last straw. Give him back, this gentleman says. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's going to happen. I just don't think that's going to happen. So we're going to go into the actual arrest and transportation before we get into some of the protests of Nicolás Maduro. So let's watch some of that now.
I wanted to hit the legal angles to everything that Maduro has facing him. The reason why he flew to New York is because he's going to be tried there. Attorney General Pam Bondi sending this out earlier, saying Nicolás Maduro and his wife Celia Flores
everybody.
Have been indicted in the
What's up,
Southern
Coco?
District of New York.
Artex.
Nicolás Maduro has been charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the United States. They will soon face the full wrath of American justice on American soil in American courts. On behalf of the entire U.S. Department of Justice, I would like to thank President Trump for having the courage to demand accountability on behalf of the American people, and a huge thank you to our brave military, who conducted the incredible and highly successful mission to capture these two alleged international narco-terrorists. Standing by is former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani. He joins us for lots of legal stories, and I gotta say, this is a unique one, Nima. This is fascinating. It's a foreign head of state that we're dealing with here. Why is a U.S. court claiming jurisdiction over a former head of state?
Austin, it is very fascinating from a legal perspective, and I prosecuted a lot of drug and human trafficking cases, but this will probably go down as the biggest in American history, really unheard of, maybe going back to Manuel Noriega in Panama for those of us who are a little bit older. But the United States does have jurisdiction over someone who is importing or working to import drugs into the United States. Now, you're absolutely right. Typically speaking, you cannot prosecute a sitting head of state. There's sovereign immunity. But there is a workaround, and the workaround is when the Department of State does not recognize that individual, whether it's a president, king, dictator, as the legitimate head of state. And here, the Secretary of State and Marco Rubio, they do not recognize Maduro as a legitimate president of Venezuela. And
so that is key to this entire extraction that happened, right? So with all the airstrikes and everything, this was simply an arrest. That's what it is panning out to be, just an arrest of a criminal. And we're now going to go back to some of the footage of the plane that Maduro was on. I don't think it's his plane. And here we go. So this is some footage of the plane that brought Maduro to Manhattan. Maduro does Manhattan. And this is after the airstrike.
If you're just joining us, we're waiting for captured Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and his wife to emerge from this airplane. They were captured early this morning in the U.S. strike on Caracas. And you can see now the different agency personnel just waiting to exit the airplane. But he and his wife were flown up here to Stewart Airport, where they will then be transferred down to New York City, we're being told, by helicopter. So we're just waiting for them to exit the airplane.
Well, from what the vice president said earlier, it doesn't sound like she's going to work out for the job. Welcome, everybody. Hit that like button. We are now watching the actual transportation of Nicolás Maduro to New York. And this just happened in the past 24 hours. And this was announced yesterday in the Mar-a-Lago press conference that a U.S. operation has captured Nicolás Maduro and flown him out of Venezuela. And here we can see, presenting it as a decisive takedown of a dictator. And he is now in the Metropolitan Detention Center, where Diddy spent some time. So as we can see, the plane on the tarmac. And Maduro's capture does not magically stabilize Venezuela.
And obviously, this is not a quick process. There's a lot that has to be done on an airplane before they can
And there is a power vacuum there in Venezuela as we speak.
20 minutes ago at this point. A little over 20 minutes ago. And when the plane parked and they opened the door again, members of various agencies,
and this is historic
quickly went up the
footage.
stairs and onto the airplane. Some in their jackets identify which agency they are with. Others in protective gear.
And we're going to forward this because they have him on there for a while. You can see some motion.
I think if we refuel here
Some
another
DEA
hour,
jackets.
maybe a little less if we have to go back to Linden. Now I'm talking to the desk, Leo. How is our fuel? Nah, Leo, for you, how is our fuel?
And let's get right to them coming off the plane. And it appears, as I looked at some of this footage before, that Maduro was shackled. And anyone can speculate on the possibilities. International tribunal, U.S. federal charges. And this is drug trafficking we're talking about here. Or some negotiated exile agreement. That's right. Maduro is done. He doesn't have that job anymore. David Phelps says, I don't know if Trump doing what he did was legal or right. I sure hope that no other president that hates our president decided to do this to Trump and his wife.
Okay, Chopper desk, I think that's them at the top of the stairs, correct?
There you go. You're wondering what's back there.
I know.
Greetings, everybody. Hit that like
That
button.
should be them coming down the stairs.
And you can see them coming down the stairs.
Yep.
And it looks like one step at a time there. Shackles. And I think they're going to be in those shackles for a while. And anybody speculating on Maduro's location, He is now in Metropolitan Detention Center, and you can see them coming down and off of the plane into custody.
Yep.
On U.S. soil, where he will remain. There is an arraignment scheduled for tomorrow. And there they go. What's up, everybody? Benny says, as a lifelong John F. Kennedy Democrat, this is exactly what I voted for. Frater says Maduro asked for it.
Okay, they're going by.
And as you can see, a very secure area for this transfer. And we are going to jump to slightly after this happened. All right, we're going to go to the Metropolitan Detention Center in Manhattan. Greetings, everyone. Welcome. Come in, come in. On this breaking story about Nicolás Maduro, the former president of Venezuela. And as they bring Nicolás Maduro to his new home, and we will be looking at those protests in just a moment here. Thank you. In Brooklyn, one of the 5 boroughs. 5 borough, 1 love. Now, this raises the question, was this a legitimate operation under international law or an unauthorized regime change grab that other countries will push back against? We saw some of that yesterday. And this is what's going on. This is what was going on outside of the Metro Detention Center in Brooklyn. Justicia. I believe that's what they're screaming. Justicia. Justice. Well, he's alive because he didn't reach for anything. He knew he was cooked. This is outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. For those of you just checking in, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in. And she's telling everybody just to remain calm. We're going to go back a little bit because I got distracted. Sorry. You didn't get through this part. Trying to do something else. So there we go. Yeah, there you go. And again, bringing Nicolás Maduro to his new home. We're on the right track now. My future is bright, absolutely. I have eyesight, light sensitivity, just if you're curious why I'm wearing sunglasses. And as we can see, some of the federal security here, home security agents, Homeland Security agents, DEA. Now, this doesn't look like an angry crowd to me. This looks like a happy crowd. That's what I think. That's what we were saying before. NYPD checking in. Okay. I'll bet she never got that reaction before. She got an absolute standing ovation.
We'll back up. Back up.
Thank you. Stay away from these gentlemen, please. Back across the street, all members of the press.
Yeah, don't go near them. Don't go near these guys. Have people not learned this?
Thank you.
Let them do their job.
We're going to change up the plans now because of that move. Thank you.
And now you can see that live as it was recorded. All right, right there in front of the Metropolitan Detention Center. And there are a lot of questions that people will want to know. Hey, are they celebrating? Are they protesting? We're going to show some of the protests here that went on throughout the day yesterday and still continue today. And we're going to look at this. This is a Mexican protest outside. All right, this is outside of the embassy there. And we'll see what they have to say on the ground. Let's go. And we'll see a little more movement here. Does not look like anything that is angry or upset. But it's funny, you look at this and people say, oh, they're protesting Trump. They're, against Trump. They're against this American action. Maybe some of them are, but they're not really saying it. Not really talking about it. But I will tell you one thing that's very interesting. And I would say this is really interesting footage right here. When you go to Miami, it looks like they feel a little different about it there. They don't look angry to me. Assassin, I got the show, okay? I got this. Thank you very much for your input. I got this. Thank you. That looks like a celebration to me. Imagine all of the people that were born, they were raised in Venezuela. They decided to leave because of Maduro. Now we do have to look at the other side. We are going to look at both sides. That's what we do here on this channel. Okay. So now we're going to hear individuals who are against what is happening in Venezuela. So fasten your seatbelts.
Feed stable, you guys have a plug.
Out of everywhere.
And this is from Mercado Media.
Venezuela to the Middle East.
Big shout out to Mercado Media.
We demand justice. We demand peace.
Things are on fire.
Venezuela to the Middle East. We demand justice. We demand peace.
I thought she said we demand. She said we demand justice. We demand peace. This is in Minnesota. All right. This is in Minnesota.
From Venezuela to the Middle East.
Oh boy. Oh, Karen.
We demand justice. We demand peace.
She's rapping. I'm sorry.
Free Palestine.
Oh no, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that here.
Sanctions since the Obama administration. And for folks who don't know what that word exactly means, it means essentially the United States has put a total blockade on the country. They cannot import food. They cannot import medicine. They cannot import things that they need to produce medicine or make their factories run or make
Look at how she had to mix this, you know, she had to mix it in, right? She's not sticking to one thing. It's just this constant, you know, virtue signaling.
Farms run. There have been tens of thousands of people killed in Venezuela over the last decade. This is not new. It's not even just about Donald Trump, although he has been far more brazen and disgusting in the way he's talked about this war than we've seen previously.
But you have a red hat on. I mean, you're not a blood. So why aren't you wearing a blue hat then?
President's been. But this is a long-term project to destroy this country, and we have to say no. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it off to my wonderful co-MC Simon from the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and he's going to get our program started. Give a big cheer for Simon.
There's always a Simon.
When I ask, what do we want, you're going to say no.
Ivana says they are getting paid to protest. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that, because I do.
No war on Venezuela. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it?
Well, they do not have any rhythm, do they?
It's my great honor to introduce our first speaker. His name is Doug.
Oh, thank you.
He's an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. He's also a veteran who organizes with About Face Veterans Against War. Give a round of applause to Doug.
Linda says, believe it or not, I left my Twin Cities in 2017 due to many of these loonies. I can't see a little change in the ones I left behind. Prayers for those who are still blind. Word. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. And happy Sunday to everybody. Quite a scene in the world news today.
Simon said, I'm Doug.
Just like Simon said. Sorry.
Organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and I'm also a member of About Face Veterans Against the War.
Of course you are.
The U.S. press reports that last night...
I'm all for people's First Amendment rights, but, you know, clowns can put on shoes and go out and do stuff like this and virtue signal with that. What's that scarf called around his neck? Chat, what is that scarf called around his neck?
Of darkness, the U.S. military invaded the sovereign nation of Venezuela. Elite forces dragged President Nicolás Maduro.
Because when you do this, you have to have one of these scarves.
And his wife, Celia Flores, from their bedroom and abducted them.
There's nothing wrong with socialism, but this is America.
A U.S. warship. The Trump administration has committed an act of war, a brazen kidnapping of a sitting head of state. They tell us that this crime is justified because Maduro is a drug kingpin. They point to a fiction called the Cartel de las Soles. But let's look at the facts. Every year, the DEA publishes its National Drug Threat Assessment, listing the major cartels that poison our communities. That report for 2025 details other cartels like the Sinaloa, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, and others.
The Sinaloa? You mean Sinaloa? And Jalisco? You mean Jalisco? See, they don't even look in to see how to pronounce the things that they're wanting to use as facts, right? It's a clown show.
But it does not list the Cartel de las Soles. Why? Because it is a lie. A hollow
the Cartel de las Soles.
Lie as hollow as Colin Powell's vial of anthrax. It's about it's not about drugs, it's about oil. This morning, Donald Trump himself.
What is that thing around his neck called? They call that something. What is that, chat? Somebody tell me.
Tore that lie to shreds. Standing before the world at Mar-a-Lago, he didn't talk about drugs. He didn't talk about justice. He laid the real, bare criminal motive. He said, and I quote, "We're strongly going to be involved in this. What can I say? We have the greatest oil companies in the world. The mask is off. the President of the United States, hours after invading a sovereign nation and kidnapping its leaders, announced a corporate takeover. He promised that our very large U.S. oil companies, the biggest in the world, would go in and fix Venezuela's infrastructure. It would take over, and they would start making money for the United States. They're not making money for Venezuela. He's claiming that Venezuela's oil was stolen from us, and it must be returned. This is the language of a colonial pirate, not someone standing for justice. How does he plan to enforce this? Military occupation. Trump declared that we're going to run this country until such a time that we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. He said that we're there now and we're going to stay. We're going to run this country. This is not liberation. This is a brazen admission of imperial conquest. He has unilaterally declared that the United States is the colonial administrator of Venezuela. What do we think of that?
Rick Young says, to be fair, oil is the biggest reason that the United States went and took out Maduro. If it was drugs, they would have gone to Cambodia and Mexico. Now, there are also other resources. It's not just about the oil. It's about cell phones, car parts, nuclear fuel. Venezuela is a resource-rich country.
And while they wage war abroad, they are preparing for war at home. This is no accident. The same administration that bombs Venezuela to seize its resources is the one labeling our movements, the movements for racial justice, for economic dignity, against war, as
economic dignity? Oh, boy. He said economic dignity. Let's get on to the next Karen.
Violence against the people united for their liberation. The stories it weaves to pave a way for military intervention in the name of resource extraction.
Yeah, he had that 10th ME hat on. Why does he have that 10th ME hat on if he's so opposed? He wouldn't be rocking that symbol.
2003, when the Bush administration falsely accused Iraq of harboring weapons of mass destruction to justify the invasion that followed.
Welcome.
An invasion that led to hundreds of thousands of civilian deaths, all in the name of securing Iraq's oil fields. We see this story being spread today at home with the dehumanization of immigrant brothers, mothers, fathers, sisters, cousins, uncles, aunties to justify their illegal kidnapping and inhumane holding conditions. We see how the government recycles anti-black narratives that led to the capture and enslavement of our black and Afro-descended relatives. We see how these narratives are reapplied again and again.
I believe they are.
If you've been paying attention, you have been witnessing the story.
Look, another one in the back there.
Unfold in Venezuela. We saw it under Obama when he declared Chavez a national security threat that went to impose heavy sanctions that choked the country from global trade, driving up prices.
Now, these folks, and I just want to remind you, there are other people, okay? There are other people that have a different opinion.
George Solis, who is live for us in South Florida. And George, I think we have you. I know it's a little
bit
loud.
And we're going to get back to that in a second.
We have spoken with Jesse Kirsch. We've spoken with you. I know that you're in the thick of it there. As you have Venezuelans gathering now, many of them celebrating the removal of Nicolás Maduro.
Celebrating the removal of Nicolás Maduro.
Right, Hallie. We're in Doral, Florida, affectionately known as Dorozuela. This right here, the gathering center outside Arepaso. Crowds have been coming and going. This party showing no signs of slowing down. Every so often, the music will pick up. You'll hear horns honking, people in support, the flags of Venezuela flying here across the crowd. Moments ago, the crowd chanting in Spanish, the government is over, the government has fallen. That's, again, just a number of chants that we have been hearing about freedom, liberty. I have been to this area numerous times while we've been covering the story of Venezuela, Hallie, and so many people in this community say we have not felt comfortable to step out to speak, many of them not wanting to show their faces out of fear of concern for their families in Venezuela. Today, a much different story, as so many have gathered here in this community ready to share their excitement. They've told me they have spoken to their family members in Caracas, some of them saying right now, some of those family members are still getting word of what happened, some of them saying they are still celebrating privately in their home, many of them hoping to be able to get to gatherings on the streets like this, but that it's just not the time for them. Many of them reacting, of course,
How do you know what I think?
they say is a regime that has been oppressive, many of them waiting decades for a change, for freedom in Venezuela. And again, the party here not
Congress doesn't need to be notified when people are being arrested, Sadie.
any signs of slowing down. This crowd has only been growing hour by hour. Some of them getting here as early as 3, 4 o'clock this morning as words started to trickle down here. And I've been checking around other businesses in this community. There are just small gatherings and celebrations as far as you can imagine. Again, Doral here, one of the largest populations of Venezuelans in the U.S. And of course, they are making their mark and their voice is heard here today, Hallie. Again, you can see more of the flags here in the distance. Police here also a heavy presence. They are making sure everything here stays orderly, and for the most part, I can say that it has been. And you're seeing some leadership here from Miami and some other council members also arriving here to take part in this celebration. Again, just eclectic. The energy here is only increasing as the hours go by.
And George, I know that you've had a chance to talk with some of these folks. You've relayed some of those conversations. When you talk about having been in this location previously, and obviously we've been covering the escalating tensions in Venezuela for months now, give us a sense of how different this moment feels than the others you've been there for.
Yes, I'm just going to step a little bit closer to get away from some of the noise, but the energy is completely different, Hallie. I mean, I got to tell you, we have talked to mothers, to fathers here, asking them to give us a sense of what they were thinking as they saw some of those boat strikes. Some of them saying,
I appreciate it.
We've seen some of these playbooks, we've seen some of this play out before, but truthfully, we don't know if we can trust that this is really going to lead to a regime change. They were waiting, holding their breath, a lot of cautious optimism, a lot of them excited when
millions of Venezuelan citizens left because of what was happening with Maduro.
The opposition leader was in Oslo receiving her Nobel Peace
And
Prize.
some of them came through our border as well.
Saying they wanted Corina Machado to be back in Venezuela. They were hoping that this was all just sort of setting the stage, if you will, for something much larger. And again, now that I'm talking to some of these same people and hearing from some of these voices, many of them not afraid to show their faces, many of them eager to restore their businesses and open their doors and just welcome a change in regime, a change in leadership, many excited for what's next. Some of them telling me they're thinking about their plans to return home to see family they haven't seen in years. Some of them still saying not quite yet, that there's still that cautious optimism, as I mentioned. But again, Hallie, as you hear the sounds here, the echoes of this crowd, there's definitely a sense that, again, the excitement here, again, it's just going to carry on into the night here.
A lot of enthusiasm, a lot of activity there in Doral. George Solis, thank you very much for being out there. I know you'll remain out there through the better.
So we're going to go back. So, you know, I want to show both sides of what's going on here. We have another speaker coming up, and we're going to look at a few of these folks.
Want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want?
Rhythm.
When do we want it?
Now.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
What do we want?
Can we get one
Rhythm.
more round of applause for the last speaker. Thank you.
Get new drummers.
Now it's my honor to introduce next up Arroyo. Arroyo is an organizer with the Solidarity.
And I am perfectly willing. We do not block out people in the chat for their opinions. We don't do that here. So let your voice be heard. You know, that's part of America, is people being able to say people being able to say what they want to say.
Solidarity Committee on the Americas, an incredible anti-war organization here locally. He is a trans organizer, the son of Mexican immigrants, and he is proud to stand with us today. Give it up for Arroyo.
Thank you. I don't think I can top that last statement.
Follow the yellow brick road. I'm sorry.
But I will do my best. The abduction of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and his wife Celia Flores is outrageous. We demand the immediate release of Nicolás Maduro and Celia Flores. The U.S. has revived the 200-year-old Monroe Doctrine, claiming that Venezuela is in its hemisphere of influence. That's some bullshit. Venezuela is a sovereign country. Venezuela, Cuba, Colombia.
Oh, the yellow brick road.
Nicaragua, and all the other countries in the area are all sovereign countries.
News with a twist, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
If the people within the United States accept these attacks, a dangerous precedent is set. We, the people of Turtle Island, must voice our outrage and disgust with the United States capturing a leader they do not agree with when they have something we need, oil and minerals. The U.S. has no issue killing fishermen.
Minerals that he didn't take. He didn't get the minerals, this one. It's just my opinion.
Civilians and other revolutionary people in cold blood for the resources that will make them a profit. Shame. The U.S. now claims Maduro will face criminal charges in a U.S. court. Shame. This sham proceeding will be done under the auspices of drug trafficking. But we know it has nothing to do with that, and everything to do with Trump's policy of regime change. If Trump and his cronies cared about drug trafficking, Narco Rubio would not be in their cabinet. Additionally, Trump would not have pardoned former Honduran president and infamous drug trafficker Juan Orlando Hernandez. Boo! Drug trafficking in Venezuela is this generation's weapons of mass destruction. In Iraq, a familiar pretext for regime change. We have seen this before. Iraq never held any weapons of mass destruction. The war in Iraq cost the death of 4,500 soldiers, with 32,000 soldiers wounded in action. The cost of regime change in Venezuela is the cost of the lives of your children. Nearly 70% of Americans oppose another war and reject the endless cycle of military interventions carried out in their name. These attacks are violations of the United Nations Charter, Articles 1 and 2, which enshrine respect for sovereignty, the legal equality of states, and the prohibition of the use of force. Such aggression threatened the lives of millions of people in the Caribbean and Latin America. This is all for oil and minerals. We must organize against the occupation of Venezuela. As the Venezuelan government has told its people, to the streets, people. The goal of these attacks is to seize Venezuela's resources, such as their people, the oil, and their minerals. The people of Venezuela have had 200 years of independence and struggle. This colonial war by the United States will fail. The Venezuelan people will rise to defend themselves, as is their right under international law and as a moral and ethical imperative.
Oh boy, we're gonna forward this a little bit because I just, the Lollipop Guild is getting to me, so we're just gonna move this a little bit forward.
And I am with Minnesota 5051. In the dead of night, the United States bombed a sovereign nation.
Oh boy.
And abducted its head of state. Trump has since declared that he will be running Venezuela and attempting to access
I will be running Venezuela. I have decided that I'm going to run Venezuela. We went in there very early in the morning. Maduro was going to go for his bunker. He didn't make it. And I'm taking over Venezuela. Welcome to the show, everybody.
This is wrong. Morally, strategically, and historically.
Buddy, I will laugh it up. Thank you.
The U.S. has
You
tried
laugh it up.
such nation building before, and the results are always the same. Enormous profit for
Is it my tie?
corporations and the wealthy, death, chaos, and long-term destabilization for the people who live there and the people who are deployed.
We're going to take people like Buddy, and we're going to deport them somewhere. I don't know where.
There. These imperialist actions
Deport
in Venezuela are abhorrent on their own, but they are also a distraction. While bombs fall abroad, a war is being waged right here at home.
What's up, Rio?
As you know, federal agents have been kidnapping people and disappearing them from the streets. Files have been released detailing the president's ties to one of the most notorious predators in modern history. Right. Reports indicate that Trump added $3.4 billion to his wealth.
Honey, it's a microphone. People can hear you speaking, and she's screaming in the microphone. Honey, people can hear you. They can hear you. It's a microphone. We get it.
In 2025 alone. Will this escalation attention away from the corruption, violence, and authoritarianism unfolding right here? No! Consider the cost of this in time, labor, money, and human lives. And now imagine what could be done if even a fraction of those resources were invested in the people here at home. Trump campaigned on America first, yet millions of people in this country are starving, unhoused, drowning in debt, and being brutalized by their own government. We are told that there is no money to
Not altogether wrong about the unhoused and the food crisis.
care for people, but somehow there is always money for war and for oil interests. Does that contradiction make you angry? We should be furious. We are. But more than that, we should
I mean, she's got the crowd better than any of the other ones have.
be activated. These problems
Yes, this is from Minnesota.
are not unsolvable. They persist because those in power lack the will to solve them. Instead, they continue to prioritize imperial expansion and corporate profit over human life. This is a wake-up call to anyone who is not bothered to pay attention. We must demand that our government stop terrorizing.
Okay, that's enough.
Anti-war public school educator in MFE 59. So I'm a pre-K educator. Our schools in Minneapolis here aren't well funded. They've got money to bomb graves, to steal oil tankers, to bomb fishermen and civilians in Venezuela, but no money for our schools. But I got to see that there's a different value system in Venezuela. Hugo Chavez, as a revolutionary president. Can we hear it for Hugo Chavez?
No.
As a revolutionary president, used oil revenue to open hundreds of public schools and free open admission universities. Chavez made sure that millions of kids who never had access to education would. He did so by sometimes using the Venezuelan army to seize the property of U.S. companies.
Anna says, yes, he teaches 4-year-olds search his phone.
He seized the oil and used that money for the
Alexander says, no fan of Chavez and Maduro.
Venezuelan oil, nationalized the oil to pay for social services.
Sadie Rose says, the chats on Trump channels are so ignorant. This is not a Trump channel, but okay. This is a, coverage of breaking events channel.
The quality of life for the poor in Venezuela skyrocketed. And today, the U.S. empire bombed his grave. They want to destroy the memory of the hero, Hugo Chavez. Viva Chavez!
No.
So this isn't just about oil after all. It's about what we do with oil and oil revenue in our society. The U.S. wants that money to go straight to the wealthiest of Wall Street, while Maduro and Venezuela want the Venezuela.
Right, next.
Not already follow our work on Facebook or on Instagram, please follow the coalition. It's been around for many decades, protesting a series.
Full of all kinds of people, Sadie. If it was an extremist channel, we would have already banned you. But we don't do that here. We want to hear everybody. So sit tight, relax, have some hot chocolate.
Of U.S. wars, sanctions, and interventions abroad. One thing I want to say before I introduce our next speaker is polls show that
get some earplugs because they're going to yell into the microphone.
War on Venezuela, 70% of the United States is opposed to war on Venezuela. I'm going to say that again.
I'm opposed to all war, but I'm not opposed to people getting arrested if they're criminals.
70% of the United States is opposed to war on Venezuela. So our task is to make that manifest in the streets, to make that manifest in the political landscape of the United States, and make peace with Venezuela and an end to U.S. interventionism first and foremost a priority of our politics domestically. Repeat after me. We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
Hands off Venezuela now.
Hands off Venezuela now.
We want justice, you say how?
How? Isn't that?
Hands off Venezuela now.
Hands off Venezuela now.
Our next speaker is Nadia. They're with the U.S.
And before we listen to this, we're going to get back to some of these speakers, but you know, there are some people really upset about this happening, and I'm going to show them to you right now. Do they look angry?
I was watching the show, then my sister came up to me and she was like, oh, they bombed Venezuela. And I was like, what? What do you mean they bombed Venezuela? All my hair is like, my skin was like, all waking up, and I was like, what? Are you kidding? Are you joking? This is not funny. And I was just like, with like the feeling of, I want to cry, but also I'm happy, and I couldn't sleep. So
She said she was happy.
I decided to come here and see, like, and feel with the other people the same feelings that they're feeling. I'm hoping for peace of all, for being able
She's got the internet Ray-Bans on.
to celebrate with my family and reunite with my family there. Still have family there.
Celebrate with her family. Okay? To celebrate with her family. And then there's this other group that just doesn't seem to be, that doesn't seem to care about the celebration. They don't want to talk about the celebrations, do they?
The genocide of the Palestinian people. In fact, the U.S. umpire and its proxies tell on themselves when they lie. The U.S. has over 5,000 nuclear weapons, weapons of mass destruction.
You say awesome, we say how. Subscribe to this channel now.
Israel has military bases built in highly populated areas with targets right next to hospitals. According to recent estimation, Israel has killed over 300,000
Ain't about
children.
Israel, honey.
I have seen countless pictures and videos of babies with their heads blown off and
Hey,
practices of
whoa,
genocide.
we don't talk
Still
about
have
that
the
stuff here.
audacity to bring up
This is the news.
claim from Zionists 2 years.
We're gonna probably skip past her. She's a little bit worked up.
This is why it is imperative we build a strong anti-imperialist, anti-war movement here in the U.S. That we fight against U.S. intervention into other countries for the selfish motives of U.S. oil companies. Because we know U.S. intervention only brings destabilization and destruction, and that this imperial violence will always come home to roost. We must fight for Venezuelan sovereignty and right to self-determination. We must continue to fight against U.S. imperialism everywhere. No war with Venezuela. No war. Free President Maduro. Viva Venezuela. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to step over here to a little clip from Reuters.
Charred military vehicles and buses were still smouldering at daybreak in Caracas on Saturday, as residents expressed shock after the US strikes hit military bases in Venezuela and removed President Nicolás Maduro. Many people stayed home as Venezuelan security forces patrolled the streets. Of those who were out, some express hope of political change, while people like Baker Franklin Jimenez concerned that this will create an even worse conflict than the one we have now, and that we all have to go out into the streets to defend our homeland, to defend ourselves. But excitement is in the air for supporters of the opposition, led by Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado outside the country. Venezuelans celebrated in Peru with people like Milagros Ortega talking of returning home.
My dad, being a political leader in Venezuela, was able to see this change. He used to say, "Daughter, when you go back, when this government leaves, you'll return to Venezuela." And to know that my dad in his lifetime was able to see the fall of Nicolás Maduro, look, for me it's an emotion. I would like to see his face.
I mean, look at how emotional she is about this happening. Because now she can go back to her country with her family.
Since 2014, around 7.7 million Venezuelans have left the country, according to the UN International Organization for Migration. Venezuelans living in Spain also rejoiced at Maduro's capture, while they tried to get hold of friends and relatives still in the country.
So
Some
they're
of
all trying to reach out to their
them are
families.
sheltering at home. A few other people in Caracas went out to stock up on essentials. Some of them are concerned that they may now have to hunker down for a prolonged period.
And that could be very possible. We're going to hit another story right here. More celebrations.
She is joining us live from Doral. She is outside in Arepaso, which we know is the mecca of the Venezuelan community there. And Gabby,
The scene's pretty busy behind you, Gabby. It's 6 a.m. and people have been out there. Can you tell us about what you're seeing and how long you've been seeing people out there reacting to this news?
Guys, history is being made in real time. There are hundreds of people here in El Arepaso, which, like you said, has been the mecca for Venezuelans speaking out against injustices in their country for decades. I'm here joined by Edgar. Edgar has been here since he was 11 years old, born and raised in Venezuela, out here since early this morning. Tell me, why did you want to be out here?
Well, okay, before I begin, I just want to talk to you, America, and I hope you have your coffee when I tell you this, but these are great news. All eyes on Venezuela. These are historical news. This is history in the making. I mean, my chest, it feels like it's gonna explode with joy. Because before I was even born, there have been struggles. My family has been fighting for so many years before I was even here. They have told me about it. They told me about a time where democracy existed, and now I can finally look forward to that. And that's just everything.
How is it different from Putin? It's not Putin. There's the start. It's not Putin, so that's how it's different from Putin. By it not being Putin.
Can ask for, and I just want to tell you people, America, Venezuelans are good people, the greatest people that I know. I can vouch for them. We are good. We are working hard, and this is President Donald Trump and Maria Corina Machado just created an opportunity for us to begin working harder than ever, because that's what we have always been doing, but now we will be working in our country. But we also have worked so hard here in the United States to build so much things, and I just want to thank you, America. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to work.
There's a lot of pride that comes with Venezuelans. He actually wore this flag just like this for his college graduation in the University of Florida, just to show you how much love there is for this country that has gone through so much for so long. Being here has been incredible. People are dancing, people are cheering, and we've been here so many times, Christian, like you said in the past, when there have been so many issues, and they would cheer, "Si se puede, si se puede." Now they're cheering, "Si se pudo." Yes, we did it. It happened.
Yes, we did.
What do you think now this means for Venezuela, for family back home, how people can move forward after this?
Well, again, it's like, I can't believe it's not butter. It's not butter. Whether you believe it or not, it's also not Putin.
Well, that's where the absurdity comes. I plead, America, again, I plead for you, for mercy for us Venezuelans. People such as me, I have been here almost my whole life, all of my youth. And I do believe that the future of Venezuelans is in Venezuela. But I also think that some of us and some people here also want to continue working here in the United States.
And in the background, si se pudo. Yes, we did it.
Building a beautiful nation. Doral. I mean, this is the stronghold of Venezuelans, and it's a beautiful city. I recommend everybody to come here to Doral. I recommend everybody.
The live stream already has over 65,000 views. Thank you so much, everybody. Hit that like button. Let's get this out to some more people. And we love to have the back and forth and debate. If we didn't, we would just ban you from the chat. But hang out.
If you're Venezuelan, everyone, come down here to El Arepaso. Yes, yeah, come celebrate with us. We love everybody because you, America, has loved us so much, so much. Thank you, America.
All right, so we are going to get back to some of these speakers that we are seeing and some of the action in, oh, Lord, oh, Nancy. Now, look, I am all about people's First Amendment rights, free speech, protest, all right, religion, petition, things like that. I'm all about it. So let's watch what's going on in Minnesota.
The live view plus. I don't care about any of your opinions on anything.
And again, this is from Mercado Media. Once again, the opinions are welcome.
I care about the media and making sure I have a good feed. If you're really trying to like troll me about, I don't care about that. I care about my live view and my signal and my video quality. That's what I'm.
And Mercado Media always doing a great job getting right in the middle of things.
I had a feed for you.
I wouldn't do it.
But in general, though, like, just I mean, on our note, though, on Mercado Media's side of things, we do not support Nicolás Maduro. All right, just I got to make that clear. I mean, no, it's. I think it should be possible to be against the tactics of the U.S. government.
Well, regardless of your opinion, I think he does a great job.
For how
I wouldn't do this.
The regime change is being conducted, while also not supporting Maduro. You know, I mean, that's where I'm at with it. All right, but you know, whenever these protests are, we're just here to cover it, you guys. I've covered MAGA protests. I've covered all types of protests. So. Just because I'm covering it doesn't mean I agree with every single thing that's being said, or even at all sometimes. Because obviously, if I go to a MAGA rally, I'm not going to agree with anything. But I'm out here to provide a video feed for you. That's it. That's what I'm here for.
That's all he's doing.
No troops on the ground, no bombs in the air!
So now we're seeing.
Pirates go home!
U.S. pirates go home!
Venezuela's not yours to own!
Venezuela's not yours to own!
U.S. pirates go home!
U.S.
Trump's attacks are war crimes! Venezuela to Palestine!
Venezuela to Palestine!
Trump's attacks are war crimes!
Trump's attacks are war crimes!
So now let's get back to some of the celebration video here.
Thank you so much for sharing those sentiments. Guys, this is something that I find really interesting here. Everyone here, American, Venezuelan, have said they're so happy for the freedom that they experience here, and they just hope that freedom translates into their home country, Venezuela. All we've heard was freedom, freedom, freedom. Yes, we did it. Now we can continue to move forward. By no means are any of them saying now comes the easy part. Certainly the hard parts are on the way, but they're saying now is finally a step in the right direction that they've all been waiting for so long. I want to give you a little bit more of a scene setter here, guys. Look, people with flags, holding them up, holding them high. Hundreds of people here. Cars, playing music, everyone here dancing. It really is wonderful to see so many people coming together. There are a lot of emotions behind this. I mean, they're not just cheering because of what just happened today. This comes from generations upon generations of stories of struggle, stories of hurt, stories also of hope for a better country and a better life.
Look at that. Even the doggo's happy down there. The dog's like, this is a wonderful thing. We love it. Now we're going to go over to some other coverage of the Venezuelans in New York.
Venezuelan Americans took the streets to celebrate. Since 2013, when Maduro came to power, about 8 million residents left the country. In Queens, New York.
Listen to that. 8 million residents left Venezuela because of Maduro.
There's a vibrant Venezuelan community, which is where we can find News Nation's Marcus Espinoza. In the neighborhood I was born and raised, Jackson Heights, New York. I hear the 7 train over you, Marcus. Good morning. What are community members saying to you?
Hey, Henna, yeah, I had the train come over right when we were about to talk here, just to
course,
show
that's the way
and
it works,
highlight here.
buddy.
We have the 7 train, the iconic 7 train here in Queens. I'm standing in front of 87th Street, and so a lot of folks know this area here. This is Little Caracas, basically, for a lot of Venezuelans. There's not a massive population number-wise of Venezuelans in New York, but that number is growing, and that is something that I wanted to find out about. I went to the streets where they went to yesterday to celebrate. I wanted to try to talk to them personally, one-on-one, Venezuelans that immigrated here 10 and 20 years ago now, and I wanted to get their perspective on that massive news that took place yesterday, and I wanted to hear what they thought about the fact that Maduro was now gone. And on top of that, I went to Brooklyn and I spoke with folks at a cafe /
And we are
restaurant
covering this
that
from
is owned
Miami
by a
to
native
Manhattan,
Venezuelan. And the
from
fact
Minnesota.
that not only was Maduro removed, but that he is now neighbors with them in Brooklyn. And I talked to them about just their overall thoughts.
Claro que sí, papá. Felicidades. Felicidades. We are just rejoicing today. It's just an incredible, fantastic, fabulous day.
It's a big surprise, something that we were waiting for a long time.
It's amazing. We've been waiting for this day for decades. We're so thrilled and happy.
See that?
And so you have the
And here again is the DEA perp walk. It's a wonderful perp walk, the very best perp walk ever. We have the very best perp walks here, right in the DEA.
Politics and the legality that we've been covering very well on this story since yesterday, since you and I got on air. You've been doing a great job steering the ship and trying to...
And there is Maduro in handcuffs. I believe he was on the Iwo Jima. Look at that. They have his eyes blacked out, his ears covered. Oh, boy. Woof. Let me put that in a tall shot here for you guys. Oh, boy. Look at that. Maduro in custody. Okay, that's fine. You're in charge. A lot of people think I run this channel. It's the mods, all right? I do not run the channel.
Consequences, Henna, but when you remove the politics and you talk to the people who are most affected by this, those who grew up in Venezuela, those who lived there, those who fled.
Thank you very much for sharing.
The situation there. I spoke with many who left because of who was in power there, and I also asked them if they would ever go back now that he is removed. A lot of them said yes, but with a little bit of hesitancy. They want to see how this plays out, Henna.
Understandably, there's so much uncertainty out there. You can always count on the 7 train being on time. I will say that. It runs every 5 minutes. So we saw a lot of the celebrations. We also saw a lot of protests. Tell me more about that, Marcus.
Yeah, protests are certainly something we're all used to here in
You got
America,
the best
and that's
mods
what
in the
took place
business here.
yesterday. When this happened, a lot of protests across the country in major cities where folks took to the street. They really have a problem with the method in which the United States military went about removing Maduro.
Now, when
here.
you're talking about this, you know, I just noticed this, you know, off the cuff sort of. These are the people who had to leave. These are the people who actually suffered. Now, the people who suffered are celebrating. That should send a message to everybody, despite what people will want to say. The people who suffered are celebrating.
Their family in Venezuela. Since I've been here, I've seen countless people FaceTiming their family members from Venezuela, checking up on them. Like we said, these strikes, we still don't know if there have been any casualties. We have had a lot of people here checking up on their family. Thankfully, all of the FaceTimes have been answered. A lot of things we still do not know. But overall here, the sentiment is hope. Like we said, we've covered this in the past. A lot of times we've heard people cheer, si se puede, and now they're saying, si se puede. Now we did it. Guys.
Gabby, it's so loud behind you that we actually we can hear you, but we can't hear you as clearly as we could. Maybe a half hour.
They're now saying, si se puede is yes, we can. Si se pudo is yes, we did it.
Go and we see the jubilation, right? The joy behind you of people that have been.
The question is, how can anybody deny that celebration? How can anybody deny these people celebrating? It's their country. It's their country. They suffered, but they're dancing in the street.
Believe it's unconstitutional. They believe that this is going to cause further problems. They were holding signs saying no war in Venezuela. They're concerned over the potential vacuum that is now there, that power vacuum that is left after removing somebody like Maduro. And so that is the other side of this as well. So you have the political side.
See this? Americans protest U.S. action in Venezuela. You see it right there. All right? You see it right there. These are Americans protesting. These are Venezuelans celebrating.
And sitting on the edge of their
difference?
seats waiting for...
Do you see the difference?
For this moment, still unclear, you know, where things will go, if there in fact will be a regime change.
This is Venezuelans, okay? Look at this. Venezuelans in Doral celebrate after Maduro's capture. And here we have Americans protesting. Okay, well, that's fine and all. But do you see the difference? I think you do. Keir Starmer let Jimmy Savile go. I'm done with Keir Starmer.
Who were personally affected here. Marcus Espinoza in my hometown of Jackson Heights, Queens, New York. Thank you so much, Marcus. And
thank you for watching. So as you can see, there are celebrations in the streets from Venezuelans. And a lot of people are going to be wondering what happens next. What does happen next? What do we do next? We started the stream talking about airstrikes in Caracas and a single press conference at Mar-a-Lago, and now we're looking at protests on multiple continents, okay? And a world trying to figure out what Trump's Maduro is captured announcement really means. So over the next few days, we're going to find out if it is a clean mission accomplished moment, or is it opening a whole other can of worms in another chapter in a much bigger crisis that sets the tone for global politics for years? I want to thank everybody for coming out and joining me today. This stream has had over 70,000 views so far. I want to thank you all for coming out here, liking, subscribing, and sharing. Thank you, mods. Thank you to all the new people, to all the new subscribers who have hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit your notification bells. We are going to be on this story very closely over the coming weeks and many others. We do have the Nick Reiner trial coming up this week, and I will be covering that. And just remember, truth is a moving target, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you.